All right, sweet girl, I murmured, scratching behind Bella's ears as she pressed her head into my palm. Just one more stretch of fence to check before coffee. The thought of a warm mug faded the instant I spotted its methane glaringly red, almost insultingly bright against the worn gray of my front gate. It wasn't just stuck there. A thick, rusted nail had been hammered through it, pinning it to the wood like a savage proclamation. I tugged it loose, the paper ripping in my hand. Emergency repossession notice. Pine Hollow Estates HO. Below that, a laundry list of fabricated offenses. Mandate 12C violation. Livestock containment failure. Unapproved fence structure. A jaw-dropping DULA 4,700 fine. Vacate by Friday or face immediate EVY tie-in. And the signatory a bold, looping scrawl that made my stomach turn, Lydia Grayson, President. My heart thudded in my chest. Pine Hollow? My farm sat next to Pine Hollow, but I'd never been part of it. Since when did Lydia Grayson get to redraw property lines? The scam theory I'd clung to died half an hour later when a sleek black SUV, trying too hard to look official, crunched up my gravel drive. Two men stepped out, cargo pants, crisp tactical vests that screamed brand new, buzz cuts fresh from a barber who'd seen too many cop shows. One gripped a clipboard like it was armor. The other let his hand linger near the pistol on his hip, a deliberate flex. Sir, clipboard started, his tone flat and cold, we're here for a visual inspection on behalf of the Pine Hollow HOA. I stared, letting the silence stretch. You got a warrant? Under Municipal Subcode 7, emergency protocol allows perimeter checks without resident approval. He rattled off, the words rehearsed, not comprehended. That's a fancy way of saying no. I shot back, planting myself between them and the path to my barn. Pistol guy twitched his fingers near his holster, cheap intimidation trick. Clipboard gave a tight, nasty smile. We'll note your resistance, sir. This'll escalate. For a moment, I thought they'd push past, but I held firm, fury hiding the adrenaline spike. They retreated to their over-the-top SUV, and I caught sight of a crooked, laminated HOA badge taped to the windshield. My phone was out in a flash, snaps of the license plate, the badge, their gear. I posted it to the local online forum. New HOA cosplay squad sighted. Replies poured in fast. Same guys scoped my shed last week. Same excuse, subcode 7-4 health violations. Then Mr. Travers from down the road chimed in. Told y'all years ago Lydia's HOA isn't a neighborhood club. It's a damn cult. The identical fake excuse wasn't random, it was a pattern. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Mr. Harper. A sharp, smug voice cut through Lydia Grayson. If you mean that notice illegally nailed to my gate, yeah, I got it. Secured for viewability, Mr. Harper, she corrected, her tone slick as oil and perfectly legal under the new emergency expansion guidelines ratified last quarter. In HOA, I'm not part of ratified rules that apply to me? Funny, I don't recall that meeting. Your residency status has been updated, she said, dripping condescension. You are now click. The line went dead, Leah VYing a dial tone and a sinking realization. This wasn't about fines or fences. It was about my land. Lydia Grayson had just fired the first shot. Her phone's dead click mirrored the hollow pit in my gut. Annexation wasn't a threat, it was a promise. The unease stuck with me, souring the coffee I never got to drink. Later, walking my northern boundary, I saw them, orange flags, stark against the green pasture, slicing deep into my property. They weren't bluffing, they were claiming it. My anger hardened into something icy and precise. Then I found Bella, my nosiest goat, bleeding in pain, her leg snarled in bright plastic tape from a toppled flag, a raw gash above her hoof. Seeing her hurt, caught in their cold intrusion, flipped my anger into rage. I freed her gently, carried the flag back to the house, cheap plastic, coordinates scrawled in Sharpie like a scar. I drove to the county records office, flag in hand. The clerk, a woman with weary eyes and a practiced shrug, barely glanced at my complaint form about Pine Hollow's impersonation and trespassing. We've had a few of these about Pine Hollow, she muttered, shuffling papers. How many's a few? I pressed, keeping my tone even. She paused, then sighed. 11 before you. You're 12. And anything done? A slow head shake. Most folks just pay the fine, fix what they demand, hope they leave. I'm not most folks. A flicker curiosity, maybe pity crossed her face. No, she agreed softly, you're not. She scribbled a name and number on a sticky note and slid it over, almost secretive. Talk to this guy. He might help. I glanced down. Sheriff Daniel Creed. My brother. Her hesitation suddenly felt less like apathy and more like fear. Was the corruption bigger than just Lydia? I called Daniel that night, pacing my creaky porch, reading him the notice, describing the fake cops, the flags, the clerk's VYB. He was quiet a long beat after I finished. Jake, he said finally, voice taut, you're not the first to complain about Lydia Grayson in that HOA. Clerk said 11 others. More than that, off the record, he corrected. People get spooked. But your Casey, it's bolder, more in your face. He paused. This isn't just about property lines or fines anymore. It's about controlling what she's got cooking next. What's she cooking? I'm still figuring it out, he admitted. Remember Old Man Carver? Farm went bust a few years back after clashing with Pine Hollow. I vaguely recalled that story. His land got donated to the HOA for community use, Daniel went on, bitterness creeping in. Now it's a private getaway fenced off. Guess who holds the deed through a shell company? Lydia Grayson. My stomach twisted. She's done this before. Same playbook, different mark. Be careful, Jake. She fights dirty. He hesitated. And watch yourself, I've been quietly told from higher up to ease off Pine Hollow stuff. Someone's pulling levers. Someone pulling levers. The word snagged an old memory, Dad, years back on this same porch swing, staring over the fields. Vultures in suits, son, he'd rasp. I land like this, land with roots, land that's free, and they want to cage it, pave it, claim it. They'll twist laws, bend rules, anything. You hold your ground always. I hadn't fully gotten it then. I was starting to now. The next move wasn't subtle. It hit before Donna megaphone's harsh blare shattering the stillness. Mr. Harper, this is the compliance DVY shown of the Willow Creek HOA. Step outside now. Willow Creek? They couldn't even keep their lies consistent. Lights flashed at my drives in, 4 black trucks, no plates, just stenciled numbers taped on, CIVYC enforcement, Willow Creek compliance DVY shown. 6 figures emerged, khaki gear, steel-toed boots, belts bristling with radios. One fiddled with a drone remote, another clutched a laminated folder. Then, like a low-budget MOY lane, Lydia Grayson stepped from the lead truck, sunglasses on despite the dim, clipboard in hand, a windbreaker probably worth more than my plow. She scanned my land with a possessor's smirk that prickled my skin. Good morning, Mr. Harper, she called, voice syrupy, clashing with her paramilitary posse. We're here for phase 2 of your compliance re-VYEW. I sipped the coffee I'd just poured, leaning on the porch rail. Phase 1 get lost in the mail? Her smile didn't touch her eyes. You got proper notice. You ignored it. We're now authorized under Willow Creek's Extended Covenant Article D to inspect and, if needed, seize any structure or material breaching code. Willow Creek's Extended Covenant Article D? I raised an eyebrow. News to me. Last time it was Pine Hollow HO. Jurisdictional updates, she waved off. Ratified at the last board meeting. There's no joint board, I said flatly. There is now, she snapped, her mask slipping. She nodded curtly to her crew. They moved 2 toward the barn, 1 along the fence, the drone buzzing overhead. I stepped off the porch, hands in my hoodie, faking a calm I didn't feel. Easy, boys. They paused. One younger looked unsure. Sir, the leader said, please don't interfere. Planning to arrest me for walking my own land? We're here under community authority. You're here playing dress up in Lydia's game, I cut in. Lydia stepped up, smile brittle. We can do this peacefully, Mr. Harper, or escalate. Your call. I laughed. You brought 6 rent-a-thugs and a drone to check a 30-year-old barn, goats born here, and county-approved utilities. Overkill much. It's not just the barn, she said smoothly. It's the unapproved fencing, livestock violations, unregistered hookups. Paperwork's inside, I offered casually. Wanna see? We'll determine compliance ourselves, she declared. No, I said firmly, you won't. She waved 2 forward. They took 6 steps toward the barn. I whistle sharp loud. The goats, chaos incarnate, bleated and charged in a furry horn stampede. One goon flinched hard. What the? They hate strangers, I said, conversational. Especially ones with radios and bad VYBS. Lydia held up her phone, recording. More proof of hostility from non-compliant residents. We're documenting this. I grinned wide at the camera. Smile bigger, Lydia. That'll look great in court. Before she could snap back, a sheriff's cruiser rolled up. Deputy Rollins stepped out calm, legit, no HOA nonsense. Everything okay here? He asked, eyeing the fake uniforms, trucks, drone, and Lydia's fuming face. She pivoted composure back. Officer, we're conducting a legal HOA enforcement action. Stand down. Rollins raised an eyebrow. An HOA action here? He turned to me. Mr. Harper, you invite these folks? Nope. Consent to this inspection? Hell no. Rollins faced Lydia, voice steady. Ma'am, you and your team are trespassing on private agricultural land. Leave now. And that drone's illegal over private AG without clearance. Lydia's eye twitched. This is outrageous. We have jurisdiction. This is the law, ma'am, Rollins cut in. She leaned close, hissing just for me. Hope your nephew enjoys scholarship hunting, Mr. Harper. Tough to get when family property's under scrutiny. Cute kid, your nephew. I slid down my spine. I didn't flinch, but that crossed a line. Her crew backed off, fumbling to keep formation. The young one-eyed clock before hesitated, glancing at my barn, then made a flicker of regret in his eyes before Lydia barked him away. There's always one, I thought darkly with a shred of conscience. The weeks after were a slow grind of mind game stools shifted in the shed. A gate unlatched overnight. Fence wire loosened when I just fixed it. Then power cuts twice late, always when my barn cameras uploaded to the cloud. No storms, no outages reported. Coincidence stopped feeling plausible. The last straw, my electric fence shorted on a clear night after a repair. At dawn, I found the copper wire sliced clean deliberate. Someone wasn't just probing. They were inside. Suspicion landed on Tom Riley, tall, quiet, hired 3 months back on a solid wreck from a farm that had recently sold under duress. Always punctual, rarely chatty. But lately, his questions got pointed not about livestock but systems. Where's the backup generator? Got a backup for the backup? Ever thought of solar redundancy? Innocent, maybe, until I caught him near the barn, phone at chest height. Camera aimed up at the loft window where Dad's old safe sat. Then I recalled him mentioning Mr. Travers's old tractor days earlier. Saw him near the fence yesterday, hope it didn't snag the wire. A subtle seed. I set a Troppa binder labeled property transfer options. Confidential, left unlocked in the tool shed, full of blank pages. 3 days later it was gone. I didn't confront him, watched instead. Thursday, 11:17 p.m., the well house motion sensor pinged. Live feed showed Tom, hoodie up, flashlight slicing the dark, a black messenger bag over his shoulder. I grabbed my heavy flashlight and stepped into the night. I caught him near the pump house. Forget to clock out, Tom? He spun, dropping the light and bag, panic wild in his eyes. He ran. I chased across the damp pasture, mud sucking my boots. He was fast, younger, but didn't know the land. He tripped over a buried pipe, face planting in the dirt. I pinned him with the beam. Let's talk, Tom. It's not what it looks like, he gasped, mud-streaked. Then you've got 10 seconds to say something smart. He caught his breath, and the panic shifted to bitter resentment. You think you're some saint? He spat. Sitting on stolen land, acting above us all? Lydia told Mesh showed me what this place really is, how your family swindled the original deal, how it's meant for the community. I stared, floored by the venom, the delusion. Lydia Grayson at HOA told you my dad was a crook? She showed me papers. He insisted, struggling up. I pushed him down. And those papers told you to cut my fences, kill my power? He flinched. She said you wouldn't budge, that you're a threat to the project, that taking it back was for the greater good. So you're a felon for the community? They'd take it anyway, he shouted, desperation cracking. I just sped it up. He waved at the bag. Look inside. Heart pounding, I opened it, burner phone, tablet, a hand-drawn map of my land, eerily precise, marked in red, trigger points. Fence cam blind spot. Well access unguarded. Underlined twice, evacuation trigger, November 4th. 2 days away. The tablet booted to a folder, Phase 3 Harper. Surveillance pics from odd angles, power usage charts, barn camera stills aimed at the loft, a PDF priority report. Subject non-compliant. Acceleration recommended. It outlined controlling the narrative, pro-VYing resistance, filing a CIVYL order under an expanded HOA clause. Signed digitally, L. Grayson. Then in encrypted files the gut punch forged docs. Property transfers, a quitclaim deed with my signature faked. Co-owned with Summit Land Ventures, filed 3 weeks back, stamped processed. Later, adrenaline fading to clarity, I climbed to the barn loft, pried up the loose floorboard, and pulled out Dad's steel lockbox, labeled Ox Dust in faded Sharpier old emergency prep joke. Beneath old surveys, the real deed yellowed, Dad's bold signature. Compared to the digital forgery, it was near perfect, except Dad's notary, old Mr. Hensley, used dark blue ink for his seal. The fake had black, a tiny flaw. Would it hold? I called Daniel, sent secure pics of both deeds and Tom's map. It's pro level, he said grimly. Too pro. Summit Land Ventures sounds familiar, let me dig. That stamp's got Roger Tate's signature block from county zoning. Tate, the guy who'd shaken my hand months back, praising Dad's legacy. This is fraud, Daniel. Theft. I'll handle it careful, Jake. While he dug, I rifled Dad's box. Beneath maps, a notebook, land disputes, settled va unsettled. Decades of challenges logged, one name circled in red, Lydia Grayson. February 1991, a luxury subdivision Shaun plan, Pine Hollow Estates, filed by a younger Lydia, then a junior developer. Stamp denied. Zoning conflict, environmental impact. Dad's note, she'll try again, not with a firm with paper. A memory sharpening, 9, on the porch steps, Lydia, younger but steely-eyed, facing Dad down the drive. Mr. Harper, let's start fresh, she'd said. Dad, stone cold, you don't get a redo after trying to kick my door in. Her smile as she left, not beaten, but plotting. She'd waited 30 years. Then the kick, Aaron, Dad's notebook, a contract, 6 months old, between Summit Land Ventures and Crest Development Fund, naming my farm pilot zone Sector 7G, Phase 1 redevelopment. Signed by Lydia Grayson, co-signed by Roger Tate. Tucked with it, HOA minutes from last year. Monitor subjects' movements. Reroute mail. Secure barn for equipment. Spin mental instability if resistance grows. Contingency, fake batch protocol. They planned the fake cops, the crazy angle whispers in town weren't paranoia, they were strategy. Seeing their arrogance laid bare didn't break my focus me. That night, wired on coffee and rage, I compiled it all, real deed versus forgery, the contract tying Lydia, Tate, Summit, and Crest, Tom's map and confession anonymized, the HOA minutes. I sent encrypted packs to 2 local papers and 3 untainted county commissioners. For Lydia, a personal touch, before dawn, I dropped a manila envelope on her pristine Pine Hollow doorstep. Inside, the worst docs. Outside, still not yours. Her response was quick, predictable. By noon, a VY Deo hit the HOA's dormant social page. Lydia, stiff before the Pine Hollow banner, voice shaky, decrying false claims and harassment by disgruntled indie VY duels. She played VY Tim. Comments tore her apart. Blink if Tate's got your leash. Looks forged, you look forged. Chubang harass our acres. It vanished in 3 hours, I'd archived it. She was rattled. Good. Time for the endgame. Dad's last note, under a map of Lydia's northern route. They can only take it if they prove it was never yours. Highlighted. A sliver of land her trucks crossed, owned by my reclusive neighbor Henry Voss. I called him, explained everything. VY Denke, the brewing showdown. A pause, then Henry's dry voice, steely, Jake, I bought that strip 30 years back, 'cause your dad flagged the easement fuzziness. Been taxing it since, waiting for Lydia to overstep. Tell me when I am ready. Next day I fortified triple cameras, streamed to off-site servers, recalibrated sensors. In the barn, Plan B, spotlights on the doors, a PA system wired yard wide, loaded with a recording. I called Daniel, they're coming. I feel it. We're set, Jake, he said steady. Deputies 2 fields off watching feeds. We move only if they break law clear. Waiting was brutal, every engine rumble a jolt. It hit just after 9 a.m. 5 dusty black SUVs skidded in, bold as hell. Lydia emerged, beige blazer, sunglasses hiding panic, jaw tight. 8 compliance officers fanned out clipboards, zip ties, less cocky now, eyes darting. Mr. Harper, she boomed, holding a sealed doc. Under Emergency HO Directive 74B. This property's under administrative hold for inspection. I stepped out, hands loose. Looks fancy, Lydia, but unless a judge signed it, it's just pretty trash. You're in violation. You're in denial, I countered. Her face hardened. She nodded sharply, frantic. The hesitant tall guy touched the barn door. Bad call. Plan B kicked and spotlights blazed, sirens screamed. Daniel's voice boomed. This is Sheriff Daniel Creed. You're trespassing on private property under investigation. Step back, hands up, now. Chaos two stumbled. One dropped a crowbar, another froze. Lydia spun, stunned. Henry Voss strolled in from the pasture at, boots, file in hand. Miss Grayson, he said, voice slicing the fading sirens. She flinched, recognizing him. Your trucks, your crew are on my land. He nodded at the track. This is Pine Hollow zoning, she stammered, unraveling. Stops 23 feet west, Henry said flat. This is a cease and desist, effective now. Plus, the community filed a class action against your HOA this morning: fraud, conspiracy, harassment, illegal seizure. The judge who nixed your hold 30 minutes ago? Lives near me. Lydia's face collapsed, arrogance melting to shock. You'll regret this, she whispered, hollow. Did that in 91, I said soft. When Dad offered you tea instead of the sheriff. Real law rolled up, 4 cruisers, silent, lights off. Daniel stepped out, warrant gleaming. Karen Grayson, you're under arrest: felony fraud, forgery, conspiracy, impersonation, CIVYLV violations. You can't, she squeaked. Adorable, Daniel said, deadpan, as deputies cuffed her. Click echoed. Her crew folded. Tall guy dropped his radio, hands up. Another sat, begging whistleblower status. Talk fast, Daniel nodded. Neighbors gathered, applause broke out. Someone droned it overhead. Mrs. Hartley toasted with iced tea. Told ya, a Hitler with a fancy title. Lydia went at Nuno shades, no smirk, just vacant defeat. Her mugshot hit the paper by Dusk Channel 9 looped neighbor footage. HOA press cuffed in fake raid, busted by victim Sheriff Bro. Pine Hollow site crash, board page 404D. Bumper stickers popped up. Lydia ain't law. A kid sold teas, her mugshot violation. Arrogance. 6 of her goons flipped, per Daniel over porch coffee days later. Singing loud, fake badges, her orders. 3 county suits, including Tate, got suspended. Tate quit for family time. State DA dug into Summit and Crest. Daniel hinted at pushback, getting the warrant. Someone up top didn't want this cracked. Bigger shadows loomed. Then, from Lydia's tablet, a flagged email: no sender. Just, reassignment. Pilot Zone Midwest Beta. With coordinates 2 counties over another target. She'd been a cog, not the machine. I drove there. Sarah Mitchell met me at her ranch gate, rake in hand, wary. Code enforcement? Not quite. I showed my forged deed, the email. Lydia Grayson. Summitland Ventures. She paled, fetched her own HO letter, same playbook. We swapped files. She hit the AG fast, got an injunction. Pressure on her vanished. 4 more owners surfaced across state, same tactics, different HOA masks. Corporate predation, not just Lydia. I handed all Dad's logs, Tom's tablet, Henry's filings, my Doc Stowe and AG contact. No promises, just silence requested. I rebuilt my barn door, walked my fence daily, ground solid. Dad's ghost in the pines. A month post-con VY tie-in. A black envelope hit my Dravino sender. Just a card. Triangle house symbol, new coordinates. I logged it, filed it in Dad's ox dust box. Someone need it someday. Law's just paper holds if good folks stand watch. Lydia was a test run. That email, that symbol? Not glitches, points on a bigger map. The fight zoomed out. I'm guarding my peace.